Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back with another video from Grand Line Review, and we're checking out the new straw bounties are in, and they are. I really enjoyed chapter 1058. The whole stuff with Buggy and Crocodile Mihawk was really funny to me. I love finding out the actual how the whole Yonko thing happened and the Cross Guild. But the bounty reveals were funny. Zoro mocking Sanji for being number 4, was it? In the bounty list. Might be wrong. But let's see what Grand Line Review has to say, shall we? And yeah, I can't wait to see how we go moving forwards.
Bounty Day. One Piece is the series in probably the history of all media that can have such hype chapters by doing nothing but showing a bunch of
numbers.
Surprises when it comes to
saw Mihawks as well, don't we?
hidden meanings that you may not necessarily have picked up on. But first, I love the way we open with Luffy in a cage with the Oda introduction.
He had nothing to do with the chapter.
This as Emperor Straw Hat Luffy. It's quite perfect because it does seem like a bit of a fun gag at first, but as he usually does, Oda actually ties this into a chapter motif. Because as we go on, we find another Emperor Bucky in a similar situation, also having been caught and berated by his quote-unquote subordinate.
So funny.
In general, I just love that Oda isn't as precious about these titles as a huge part of the online fan base can be. A lot of this chapter is highly compressed information, and as part of that, Oda made sure to showcase Jinbei as much as possible in the opening, which is something I really needed. This is his first time sailing properly aboard the Sunny with the crew, and this
he's proper Straw Hat crew now.
So we need to make the most of it, and I really enjoyed Jinbei's brief interactions, especially the hearty laugh moment, ho ho ho, which evokes a very strong sense of Roger's he laughed.
Yeah.
Look at the panel, and Jinbei has some serious Joy Boy vibes happening. And also, in honor of Jinbei's arrival, Frankie mimicked his top-knot hairstyle, although to be fair, that could also be a nod to Wano. Sort of like when you're
I never even thought about that. Yeah, I think it's more of the t-shirt says something Japanese Wano related, didn't it? Like samurai or ninja?
There was also a great Nami gag with her using Conqueror's Haki, complete with the black lightning effect and everything. And
Jinbei questioned it.
Perfect because Jinbei being taken aback by the joke Haki really solidifies his place in the crew. Which, to be clear, that place is every weeb's dream because it is under Nami. Because the Straw Hats actually have 2 captains. Luffy is the captain on land. He decides what they do, how they do it, and which land they be heading to next. But Nami is the captain
on sea.
Because if they make one mistake in the New World, then they're all dead. And that's why Nami gets to punish Luffy, because he usurped her authority at sea, and now he's in a cage where, rightfully, he belongs. But this is Jinbei's first experience of crew submission. Before he was an official member, he was more of an ally of Nami, a colleague, if you will.
Yes.
However, he is now clearly
official.
Command, and that
now deal with it.
Sealed the deal with this whole dynamic. You know what? He still has not had the crew toast yet, though. That's the one thing I'm still really missing with Jinbei. So maybe we'll get a handful of chapters doing all of the big world stuff, and then come back to the Straw Hats, do a bit of a celebration, and then, bam, on to the next island. Or not, I don't know. I also want to point out one brilliant gem of a panel where Oda crammed in as much characterization as possible. Within this chaotic scene, you can see so many core characters.
There's a lot going on.
Including angry Nami sleeping Zoro, Brook smashing into a wall, Frankie dancing, and even Chopper doing his reverse hiding. And it's such an effective way of saying that everything's back to normal now. We're done with our special...
Yes, we're carrying on, we're all good and refreshing and ready for a new adventure.
Because as of August 2022 AD, we have a bingo. With the revelation of the Straw Hat bounties, we have completed one whole row of our Grand Line Review 2022 Bing card. And we're going to keep playing, see if we can pick up a few more before the year ends, but congratulations. To anyone who doesn't know, these events were not chosen by me. They were all actually provided by you guys.
Oh wow, okay, cool. So you did get a row, that's sick.
Job thus far. But getting into the meat of this shepherd's pie of a
the new Straw Hat was that. Should have been Yamato, but no.
And Oda revealed these bounties in, I guess, an interesting way. One that I both liked and disliked at the same time. Because there are just so many Straw Hats that obviously it becomes very difficult to cram 10 full
Blessed Chopper just not getting much still.
So Oda made the choice to omit most of the actual posters. Which makes me kind of sad because I'm a very tangible person and I wanted to see them. Even if most of them...
I'm gonna have to update my Sanji poster downstairs. No!
But at the same time, it was also nice to have a...
Zoro poster even, not Sanji. Well,
commencing with Chopper, our cosmic candy lover has definitely increased, and by comparatively...
By 10 times?
Still worth a meal.
Because it was only 100, wasn't it, originally?
So it continues the gag of Chopper being thought of as the crew pet. And to be fair, 1,000 berries, that's a lot, because that means that Chopper is now worth exactly 2 Beppos. I am a bit surprised, though, because Chopper had a very public showing against Queen on the
Yeah, but it's how much information is actually left now to the public, isn't it?
This immense Tanuki threat. I love that Chopper, despite how timid and scared he is, he still wants to be thought of as like a rawr, scary
a
guy.
rawr.
We take an absolutely massive leap here, though, starting with Nami, who now has a bounty of a whopping 366 million berries.
Not quite in the billions, but
it's higher than Luffy after any sloppy. Oh, and also here's a whole list of people that Nami now outworths: Mad Monk Rouge, Killer, Basil Hawkins, Diaz Drake, Jewelry Bonnie, Capone Gang Beige, and Scratchman Apu. So Nami is now worth more than the majority of the worst generation.
That's sick.
Wow. Is it deserved? Absolutely, because without her, as stated previously, all of the Straw Hats would just die immediately. But that's not the in-world reason as to why she's worth so much. Because most of the Straw Hats have simply had a bit of a commander fee slapped on top of their existing bounties. That fee is 300,000 berries, which they've earned just via being considered a commander of Luffy's crew. And the same is true of Brook, who now clocks in at 383 million berries. Very fitting. I think that Brook has been overlooked for far too long. Yeah, he's not the greatest at punch fighting.
He's very capable, though, my god.
He's always an MVP. I also loved his reaction, which is just him vibing and having the time of his life as always. The dude is just happy to be sailing and playing music. Another one of our crew's spiritual joy boys. Frankie is a bit of a fascinating one because, yeah, he got the standard commander's fee and ended up at 394 million, but his poster is actually of the 1,000.
Sonny, yeah. It's like, wait, why is my face not there?
But then it actually made me go, hey, wait a second. Because to be honest, it's a gag, but it's not actually that funny. Frankie Shogun, that was funny, but Sonny is just kind of weird. And it makes me wonder if this is setting up a potential future plot point. Think about it this way. Frankie is currently the only Straw Hat whose face isn't published globally. So if the Straw Hats ever found themselves in a situation where they need someone to do something,
Frankie could do that.
Hilariously is the only option. The loudest member of the crew, completely incapable of subtlety, would be at the last resort, because he's the only one of them who is not immediately recognizable.
Now that is interesting. That's going to be used, definitely.
If I was a bounty hunter, then essentially I'm being offered almost 400 million berries just to steal a ship. So maybe there's a point in the near future where this results in Sunny being taken or someone attempting to take Sunny. I don't know, it might just be being paranoid because post any slobby with Sanji told me not to accept gag bounties as just gags.
Yes, because, that worked in some way, didn't it? Like that guy who's like, I'm not him.
Depending on your perspective here, is Usopp, who is now worth $500 million.
Jeez. He's like, make it stop! Make it stop!
And it makes me really keen to see Yasop's reaction. He doesn't actually know his son, at all. So I imagine that Yasop thinks Usopp is becoming some sort of big, world-class, badass pirate man. And then when they actually meet,
he's gonna be like,
incredibly confused. There's not a whole lot more to say about Usopp. Again, he was just hit with a standard 300k commander's fee. But from here, the bounties just get absolutely
Here we go.
Nico Robin is now worth a very big number.
I mean, she's always been worth a lot anyway, hasn't she? Because of the fact that the world government want her.
Which I'm very glad about because I've been saying for years that she should be worth at least 1 billion. If only because the knowledge that she has is the greatest threat to the world government that this planet has to offer. And it seems like they finally relented and recognized that because Luffy is now exactly 1 red cube away from forming his pirate king.
Mate.
Robin also has my favorite reaction of the chapter. Despite the staggering amount on her head and the trouble that this is inevitably going to cause, she does not care at all. Because Robin knows that she is 100% safe with the crew. She could have a 10 million berry bounty on her head and still not feel threatened. It's one of those times that makes me really nostalgic for any slobby because you can see the growth that occurred because of that arc. However, the whatever below bronze medal is goes to Sanji, and it's a pretty crazy number. 1,032 million berries, which under any other circumstance would be cause for celebration. But in terms of numbers, Sanji is being seriously down. Not only below Zoro, but also below Jinbei.
Damn, here we go.
Shocking to me. I definitely never expected it to reach over 1 billion. However, in comparison to the other warlord bounties in this chapter, I do think it remains consistent. Remembering that Jinbei is a bit of an established big shot in the whole One Piece. He's a former warlord, he was the captain of the Sun Pirates, and he's an associate of Big Mom and Whitebeard. To put it one way, his threat branding is more on point than Zoro or Sanji. And I love that it continues the one-sided beef between Sanji and Jinbei that started during the raid. I suppose we do now need to ask ourselves the big question. Is this still the monster trio without Sanji, or are we going to expand into a monster quartet? I'm not really bothered either way, because in the long
love
run,
Jinbei anyway. He's so sick.
And in this case, it has paid us 1,100,1,100 berries, which seems like a random actually a birthday bounty. Zoro was born on the 11th of November, or 11-11, hence why there are 4 1s in the bounty. And the same applies to Sanji, by the way. The 32 million in his bounty is likely a reference to his birthday on the 2nd of March, which according to the American system would be 3-2. Not the sane system, which would be 2-3. And you can tell that Brandy really put in a lot of effort in this case. I mean, he sculpted Zoro's bounty to perfection, even going so far.
I need a new poster now, no.
I think that Brandy was secretly a bit of a Zoro fan. Fun fact, Zoro is now worth more than Charlotte Katakuri, as is Jinbei actually, which is pretty awesome because it's great to see Luffy's best and most punchiest assuming their place in the world with proper commander scale abilities. But rather hilariously, as it turns out, Zoro is worth almost exactly 1 Jinbei and 1 Chopper, with 100 berries left over to spend. And with that 100 berries, you could buy 2/3 of a one-piece cabbage. That's not even the bulk of the chapter though, because it mostly focused on the situation with Cross Guild, revealing some rather hilarious dynamics. Because as it turns out, I can't believe I gave Buggy far too much credit. Ironically, that is saying a lot because I did not give him a lot to begin with. But as suspected, this whole endeavor really is Crocodile's mind, baby. No huge surprise there. He's the only one of these 3 capable of forming a
He's a very clever man.
As this chapter goes on to emphasize, actually, with Buggy's delivery being just a little bit broke. It's interesting because I always assumed that he found and used Captain John's treasure.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
But he actually had to visit a lone croc to get things off the ground. I think my favorite part of this entire chapter is the short flashback of Buggy's henchman showing off his graphic design and going, "Oh, Buggy-sama, I couldn't resist making..."
We had to make you look amazing.
And the whole situation is just fantastic. Buggy has basically bumbled his way into prominence in such a spectacular yet shameful fashion, and I just love it. In regards to Mr. Mihawk,
he just wants to be left alone.
The biggest chapter he's had in terms
He just wants to be left alone.
Particularly when Mr. Sir Crocodile courted Mihawk by hinting at a potential past betrayal and some ongoing trust issues with society at large. I mean, it's only 2 panels. You've got Mihawk looking serious in the flashback like this, and then you've got Mihawk looking serious in the present time like this. But then there is a story happening here. We don't know what the story is, but in Mihawk's mind there is some trauma resurfacing. Meanwhile, we also have the revelation of his epithet being Marine Hunter Draco Mihawk. A very direct parallel to our own pirate hunter, Rono Zoro. But also Mihawk's crowning motivation has come forward, and it's actually quite simple. He just wants to chill and
come on guys, just let me be.
He's already accomplished his life's goal of becoming the best guy ever, so now he just wants to be left alone. Hence why he became a warlord of the sea, because that ensures that neither the Marines nor pirates are going to want to disturb him. And
but now he's no longer a warlord.
Yeah, it's a little bit more effort. But going after an organization is always less appealing than going after an individual. In any case, the world government have thoroughly, and I mean thoroughly, screwed themselves over with this whole warlord business, because without ending that system, Crocodile's whole endeavor would have been worth about as much as flaccid genitals, because Crocodile simply would not have been able to pull it off. The most exciting part, though, is that our numbers are not over. Mihawk's bounty is 3,590 million berries, which currently makes him worth more than 3 out of 4 of our emeralds.
Which is crazy.
Even with Shanks, he is not that far off, roughly 1 Usopp's difference between them. I'm very curious though, because this is clearly a new bounty, and I'd be keen to find out what that number was before it was frozen. But I think this says a pretty phenomenal amount of what the world government think about Mihawk. He may be single, but according
he's
to the
so
world
freaking capable, man.
Judging this one sword boy to be more of a threat than Luffy, who commands an entire grand fleet consisting of giants.
Mantle. Yeah, but we did see originally when he was introduced that he was just taking down fleets by himself, and he doesn't even have a devil fruit.
With bounties, they generally take influence into consideration. Like how every emperor essentially has their own private army and countries and intelligence networks and all of this stuff. But Mihawk has nothing but his own individual power. Well, that and monkeys, which were in the chapter, by the way. You could see them like peeking through the window in the flashback. It was very cute. But look, even taking the monkeys into consideration, Mihawk's valuation here is based pretty much on raw individual power, because he just has nothing else to offer. To contrast this, Crocodile's bounty has been raised to 1,965,000,000 berries, which before Wano would have put him in the top 10 bounties just ever in the series.
Damn.
We're at a point now where almost 2 billion berries actually seems a bit low and even a bit scrubby. But Crocodile's value was stated to be assigned mostly for intelligence and the fact that he has a Logia power. So he's a very smart...
Yeah, Logia is a very dangerous man.
As well. because Buggy's bounty is 3 billion.
Which is a joke, though.
Which is actually all thanks to Buggy's graphic designer. If he wasn't prominent within that poster, then Crocodile would probably be the one worth 3 billion. Right?
Yeah.
But part of me really, and I mean really, loves that Buggy has a higher bounty than Luffy. For the first time since Luffy's
absolutely insane.
And I kind of hope
absolutely
the series with Buggy still have.
Because the world government just don't know what's actually been happening at all.
To be honest, because from the Marine perspective, Buggy looks like more of a threat to me, especially someone who can now command the world's greatest swordsman. I don't know, bounties are a bit weird sometimes. Like, you would think that Zoro and Sanji beating King and Queen would naturally result in numbers that are at least...
Yeah, but has that been made public?
But Commodore Branu has spoken, and in his infinite wisdom, which is lacking very integral knowledge, these are the numbers that we have landed on. Just as a side note, I think that Branu might be one of my favourite characters in all of One Piece, because he only appears to announce big bounty news.
Yeah,
so Old
big
Mid
bounty
like
news.
Pinata, because every chapter he's in is a hit. And then we have the Revolutionary Army. Our commanders have returned to the Kambaka Queendom, although there is a distinct lack of Sambo. It would seem that during all
but then he comes in at the end, doesn't he, to talk on the snail.
So they don't actually know the truth of what happened.
And then Kuma, man,
This
Kuma.
question of whether Sambo killed murdered Cobra has been lingering so long that I'm starting to second guess my original reaction. It just doesn't seem like an Oda move to entrench a protagonist in something so dark and bloodsome. In One Piece, good
I
guys
think
bad guys are bad guys.
we're going to get the
Sometimes
reveal
bad guys are good guys,
that
but
he
good guys
did
are
do
bad
it.
guys. Unless they were bad guys to begin with.
For reasons I don't know.
But seeing Dragon's serious face in 1058 did exactly what it needed to, which was plant some serious doubt seeds in the poorly maintained garden that is my mind brain. Dragon practically raised Sabo, and yet of everyone here, he is the only one seriously considering whether or not Sabo actually did it. Again, I don't want to read too deeply into this path because I still can't quite see it happening, but if Dragon thinks that maybe it might have, then it's knocked my confidence down from...
Yeah, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility, is it? It's like, I reckon he did do it, but why? Why?
Promising that we will discover the Sabo-based truth in 1059, although
Hopefully.
that may not be the case. Oda loves to do this thing where he ends on a cliffhanger and then completely switches focus in the next
And then we wait
Let me know in the
ages to
comments,
find
like,
out.
do you think
There's
Sabo
still loads to learn.
accidentally or no? The other piece of big news
Kuma.
is Kuma being sighted free for the first time post-time skip. And shockingly well-dressed, mind you, which makes me wonder. Did the Revolutionary Army just hold on to Kuma's clothes for the last 2 years? When
Yes.
Voltigo was attacked, did Dragon order his troops to make sure that all of Kuma's outfits made it to Momohiro Island? And also, who dressed him? He's like a mindless cyborg. He will need help. And my guess there is the Okama. Ivankov and his legion were quite skilled fabric smiths, even in Impel Down, so I imagine that they replicated his outfit. Enough of the big questions, though. Let's examine the small stuff. Like, is Bartholomew Kuma actually still alive? Because it's entirely possible that all Sabo and friends of Sabo did was rescue and dress up a robot.
Yes.
Immediately answer that question
That is
now
true.
his hands. If Kuma were no longer alive, then surely his devil fruit abilities would have reincarnated. If those paws are still there, then on some level, so is Kuma. Unless the magical fruit powers got a little bit confused and didn't notice the passing of their user. There's also something interesting about Kuma's response to Dragon, you know, the whole robotic give me...
What do you want me to do?
Because I wonder if he was given general programming to respond like that to literally anyone, or if it was specifically designed to respond to the world nobles, and this might say something very interesting about this Dragon fellow. That's a question for another time, but here's a video for now. It's really good and such, and I look forward to seeing you there.
But yeah, I like that chapter, and we're definitely on a new story now. We've had it established, the bounties, what's going on with Buggy, Mihawk, Crocodile, interesting, world government panicking, and the Sabo thing at the end, it's like, right. But yeah, he's probably right. We're just going to cut to like the Straw Hat crew randomly like turning up at some island and going on and meeting random people, and we go from there. I can't wait to see it though. Like I'm really looking forward to this new story, and I am very happy that I've this is the first time ever I am now reading a new story arc from the beginning as it's coming out, which is so sick. But anyway, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video, upload links, description to the Patreon page. $1 or more helps support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe, and leave comments down below. Let me know what I shall watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys all next time.